Hello everyone, my name is Karasin Bahar with the matrix number of BB211110744. So for today's video, I would like to share about harmonizations and standardizations. But first of all, did you ever wonder why accounting practices differ from one country to another country? We take an example like Toyota and Apple's. They have a different accounting standards and accounting rules based on what we can see in their financial reports. But what if the whole world tend to follow the same accounting rules and standards? So we will dive into the debate between the harmonizations and standardizations in international accounting. So first of all, let's start with the basic, which is the definition of harmonizations and standardizations. Firstly, harmonizations. Harmonizations means reducing a difference in accounting standard between countries. It feels like agreeing on the same playlist of the songs, but allow them to pick different songs that match their local culture. On the other hand, standardizations involve using a set of global accounting rules which will be used by all the countries, like everyone is listening to the exact same song. In international accounting, the most prominent standard is IFRS, which stands for International Financial Reporting Standards, that are being used by over 140 countries. But there are some countries also that are not adopting the IFRS and they choose to use their own principle. For example, United States, they are using the GAAP, which stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Moving on to the why this debate is important between harmonizations and standardizations. So actually, this debate is not only affecting the accountants but also the investors, the companies itself, the business, and also the governments. So here's what. The first reason is because the multinational companies often operate in the multiple countries that have different accounting rules and standards. This makes the cost of preparing and making the financial statements become more complicated and expensive. The second reason is the investors nowadays often want clarity and comparability to make an informed decisions. If the financial statements are not consistent, so how they want to make the decision, how they want to compare. It's like comparing an apple to an orange. So let's proceed with the pros and cons of harmonization versus standardizations. First of all, for the harmonizations. As for the pros, harmonization is flexible. Countries can adapt a global set of accounting standards to suit to their local culture and economic needs. As for the cons, there's still a lack of consistency. For example, some countries may tweak IFRS, but they also create a slight difference to the standards that make the comparisons more tricky. To be more specific, we take India as our example. India adopted IFRS, but also they modified some of the standards due to their local regulations and named it as an Indian Accounting Standard, IND-AS. For the purpose of the standardization, it is actually full of uniformity. It ensures the financial statements made by the organizations is consistent and easily comparable across the borders. As for the cons, it is hard to implement globally because different countries have different economic conditions and different legal systems. So which one is better? So it's actually depending on who you ask. As for the business, I think they are more preferred to the standardizations because they prefer simplicity more than complexity. So moving on to the next part, which is what does the future holds. So actually the future of international accounting can go into two directions, which is focusing on one direction to the standardizations and then the second direction to the harmonizations. So the first direction is a world where standardization wins, where all the companies and countries adopted IFRS, creating a seamless global comparability. This will simplify financial reporting for the multinational companies and also reduce the cost of preparing multiple sets of financial statements. For investors, this means that it is a greater transparency and confidence in the global market. The second direction is a world where harmonization evolves, balancing the alignment with the local flexibility. This approach will allow the countries to retain certain elements of their local accounting system while adhering to the global principles. Either way, the collaboration is the key. Organizations like ISB and FSB already working on convergence project to minimize the difference between IFRS and GAAP. Ultimately, the future of international accounting is depending on the continuous dialogue and compromise between the regulators, the businesses, and the governments worldwide. By only go through to this way, we can hope that we can create a system that can serve the global economic effectively. To wrap up, both harmonizations and standardizations have their own strengths and challenges. While harmonizations respect local uniqueness, standardizations promote global consistency. The choice isn't easy, but it is a crucial one to decide whether to use harmonizations or standardization because it is important for the future of the global companies in the international accounting. So what do you think? Based on my explanation, do you think that we need to apply the harmonization or standardizations? So I leave it to you guys. So that's all from me for the video presentations for today, which is the debate between harmonization and standardizations. That's all. Thank you. Bye bye.